I thought, what would be better than to use my 34 years in the veterinary industry than to help you guys, the pet owner? What are your questions? What do you need to know? What would you like to know? I want to create a completely interactive podcast where you, the listener, can ask your questions and we will answer them. I will have industry-leading professionals come in and have conversations about your very questions. What keeps you up at night? What worries you about your pet? What worries you about the cost of taking care of your animal? There's so many things that we can talk about, but I need you to tell me what we need to come up with. Because if you do that, we can have a great, great, great session. So how was We're good? We will have a huge discussion on allergies. Yes. I hope to have Dr. Rosenkrantz here. Mm-hmm. He's the godfather of veterinary dermatology. He loves to talk too. So we are going to hit allergies, and we are going to hit ear infections, and we are going to hit the idea of fleas and everything else.
Nutrition, diets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But we can't do that one now. That's probably going to be a 3-part series.
Well, your response was very long-winded because they just said reflex.
But
I do love where you were going.
I do like the interlude 31. So I have a question for you then.
Yes.
So we could test this very quickly. What if I gave my dog Cytopoint and then I attempted to do the scratch? Do you think with that interleukin 31 response,
first off, for the
you
listeners,
think it's going to block?
Cytopoint is an allergy injection you give every 30 days. It works amazingly well for environmental allergies. I think that's something we should try. Because I could tell you right now, when my dogs are itchy, I can get them to scratch their belly.
Yeah.
When my dog's allergies are not acting up,
It's harder.
they don't do it.
Yeah.
Why do cats bring their owners dead animals?
Because they're hungry.
They think you're hungry?
A peace offering? I don't know.
Actually, the real reason is because you have to remember cats come from the wild animal cats in Africa. Mm-hmm. And the only reason your cat is not trying to kill you is because you're too big.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This says instinct. They're teaching you how to hunt. They want to show you their hunting
I can see that. Yeah.
But I think it's because your cat wants to kill you. And it's like, hey,
just can't.
Look what I did to this lizard. You're next.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, right? I would be more concerned being left in my house if I was dead with my cats than I would with my dog. I don't think my dog would eat me. I think my cats would eat me, hands down.
Your cats would eat you now, but you're too big.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
They plot it every day.
They think about it every day.
They are intrusive thoughts with 4 legs. That's what they are.
Yeah, they could probably get away and kill you and get away with it too.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Because they'd come to investigate and there's your kitty just grooming itself like, hey.
No, they would be the detective. I actually work here.
Next one we're going to go to is, why do dogs circle before laying down?
I've always wondered that.
Is this that equator thing? I don't know. Is this that like they point west before they poop or something stupid?
And if they're in Australia, do they circle the opposite direction?
Like the toilet?
Oh my gosh, I love that. We should do a test. We should have people in Australia tell us which way their dogs circle.
Please.
And see what way dogs circle here.
Yes,
see if
there has to be a study already. We're not just the first 3 doofuses to think of this.
Okay, Mallory, you're going to have to give us that
The answer is it's leftover instinct from wolves making a comfy sleeping spot. But
that is very leftover then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about 2,000 years removed.
Separated. I mean, let me just say that dogs are not wolves. Let me just the common folk.
Well, it's like some of those food commercials, right? They're like, your chihuahua needs to eat the same
like
food.
a wolf.
It jumps from a wolf to a chihuahua.
Yeah.
Love those commercials.
Like, no, absolutely
That
not.
is sarcasm,
That is 2,000 years spread over 2 seconds.
Yes. Why do rabbits thump their feet?
Is that a territorial thing, an aggression, a sign of aggression or stress?
I was going to say it's trying to...
It's a warning. Yeah, it's a warning signal for them.
Oh, really? They're not trying to scratch your ear?
No, they think danger is nearby.
Yeah. With a thump?
With a thump.
You know,
so
Bambi?
they're trying to let everybody know.
I do.
I've never seen that, but
neither have I.
But I've only had a rabbit for a little bit.
Oh, rabbits are phenomenal pets. They will run the roost.
Yeah.
They'll rule the roost. Like, if you have a rabbit running in the house, I can first off, you can litter box train them, which is awesome. But they will dominate the dogs, dominate the cats, it's a pretty cool thing to see.
And they're chill. When you just look down, and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I have a rabbit. I did that for a while because I'd work so long and come home and be like, this guy's ready to chill with me right now.
We used to treat a lot of bunnies, and we had hospital cats who would go up to the bunny cages when the bunnies were hospitalized. And watching the interaction between them was amazing because the bunnies were ready to throw down
hands,
with, ready to go with these cats. It was amazing.
An important fact for all you bunny owners, if you're going to take your bunny to the vet, for whatever reason, bring a bag of food. Because bunnies need to eat all the time. Yep. They will not vomit under anesthesia. They're a lot like a horse when it comes to that.
Or a rat.
Yep. So just make sure you bring a bag of food just so they always eat. Because if a bunny is not eating, then they'll colic, just like a horse. And that's usually when the intestine has an issue.
Why do cats, this kind of goes back to something we were talking about earlier, why do cats suddenly sprint across the house at 2 a.m.? Other than the fact that they're jerks, other than that they're trying to ruin your night.
Well, if they're young, we already talked about they're nocturnal.
This just is, it kind of goes back to exactly what we said, pent-up energy and hunting instincts.
Yeah.
Nocturnal.
I'd say a burst of energy would probably be realistic to say.
Want to hunt at night.
They usually try to hunt your toes, your ears,
they're going to go
your
after
nose.
something. They're gonna...
Absolutely.
These are just some kind of fun ones for you guys to get out to the viewers. What is one piece of advice you wish every pet owner would follow?
Ooh, I have mine already.
Go for it.
Listen to your veterinarians. I know it's such a blanket statement, but there is a reason why veterinarians undergo such intense education and also trial and error. They're in a field where, although yes, you're at home, you know your pet very well, and that is a beautiful addition in giving history to your veterinarian, but they have the ability to mend science and art together. And when you guys come together to do that, it's phenomenal what you can find, and it's phenomenal what you can prevent. So, that's kind of my biggest thing.
Repeat the question again.
What's one piece of advice you wish every pet owner followed?
Well, on TikTok, you guys are complaining about, going to the veterinarian, veterinary bills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So just do the simple things. Keep your dog on the same diet. Avoid the, I had prime rib last night. Walk your dogs on a leash. Keep your cats indoors. Spay or neuter them at some point. I'm not going to go into the young old. That's going to be a different subject we're talking about. And make sure they get exercise. I mean, those are the big ones.
Keep them
simple.
Lean. Keep them lean.
Well, also the aggression is usually from them being pent up the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think those are simple things that will keep them out of trouble. There's no cure for allergies. So if your animal has allergies, you're probably going to be on a good first name basis with a veterinarian.
I couldn't be a dermatologist for that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
You're never curing anything.
You're never fixing anything.
You're just helping manage at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the things. And most importantly, if you have a question, it doesn't cost anything for you to call your veterinarian. Now, if your veterinarian's charging you for a phone call, I'd probably look for a new one, but that's me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but if you're just calling to get advice, that's better than going online and reading some misconstrued BS statement that you found online.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. I think it is important to ask those questions, to call the professionals before you just go to Dr. Google, because a lot of times it's out of context, it's misconstrued, it's manipulated, it's fabricated. There's so many things. Everything on the internet isn't always true.
Well, it's like if you have a headache, you cannot Google that, right? Because you will have brain cancer and be dead within the next 3 days. So I think people need to realize the same applies for veterinary medicine too, right? That there are a lot of scare tactics out there, that not everything you're reading is true, and that the best advice you can get is going to be from your veterinarian. Most people have established relationships with a veterinarian that they care and trust about, and you guys are more than willing to give out information to your clients.
Yes.
So once you have that relationship, right? I just got two more little fun ones. What is the weirdest pet you've ever treated? What do you have? You got that smile.
When I was in vet school, I was in Illinois. Everyone knows now because of Joe, the tiger guy on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
There is a big cat rescue in Indiana, and they had a male lion coming in to get a crown on his canine because his canine was cracked.
Nice.
He was going to get a root canal and a crown. And I was in charge of anesthesia.
Love that.
And on a wild lion.
That's scarier than the surgery.
Exactly. A wild lion.
Anesthesia's awful.
So my anesthesiology professor, he used to play golf with me. We had a great relationship. And he's like, hey, G, get over here. I need you to use this dart pole to tranquilize the lion. What I didn't know is that was just saline. There was no anesthetic in there. And the second thing is he had already given the shot.
Yeah.
So I'm walking over, and of course you're totally terrified, right? This thing, like, I mean, it's like diving with great whites at the same cage concept. And I go to give the shot, and my anesthesiologist shakes the cage and goes like that.
Did you pee? I would have peed.
I didn't have to. Let's just say I did not have to take a bowel mover for a couple days after that. But that was I actually got to work on a lion. That was a blessing.
What about for you?
Oh, well, I was able to help with a beaver, which I thought was
fun.
really cool. Beaver and a porcupine back to back. So that was an interesting moment. It was at a zoo rotation during my program, and it was just amazing to see the amount of people coming together, and being able to really, you got to like rodeo this beaver because you have to, be able to give it an IM injection, right? You got to get
IM means intramuscular.
Yeah. So kind of like how you were talking with, using the pull syringe and things like that, you kind of just get on top of them, and I did. And I went in there, and I jumped on top, of course, gently. You're trying to be as careful as you can. These creatures are very sensitive, and gave the injection. But what was crazy is I didn't realize how thick their skin is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like you're so used to dogs and cats, and like you can tint the skin. Like with a beaver, they need that for like thermoregulatory things and protection, right?
Yeah.
Because they usually live in very cold places.
Cold and water and wet all the time.
And they have one job in life, and that's to build a dam.
Yeah. And so giving subcutaneous fluids even, under anesthesia,
right?
You have to use like a needle, like you feel like you have to go all the way in, and you're like, where am I at? Am I in the spine? Like,
well, because
it's so thick to get to that subcutaneous layer. You're like, where am I?
Yeah,
so that was definitely
I did zoo
really
medicine
cool
for a while, and zoo medicine is just terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Like I love it, but
exactly. It's like
wild.
It's a humbling experience.
It is
for people that especially have only
like a
done
silverback gorilla.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of bears where I was at. Everything's with a dart gun.
Yeah.
Pick it up with a forklift, put it on the back of a golf cart.
And hope they don't wake up.
Yeah.
And just really
Did you
hope
calculate that
really,
right?
Yeah, really hope you calculated your drug
always
doses
on the upper
right.
end.
Hopefully you don't hit every red light. There's no gridlock.
Through the zoo with a bear on the back, tied down. You're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, Jurassic Park comes to mind, right? When they're
Yes.
driving away in the Jeep, and it's like the dinosaur is in the rearview mirror.
The first day I was there, they had an alligator, and they were like, no, you just got to go in there. And they gave me a rake.
What was
and
that
I was like,
gonna
what
do?
the heck am I supposed to do with a rake? And they were like,
You're
no,
gonna rake your grave
you like
before you
stand
get in
your
it.
ground. And I was like, I don't know if I'm built for zoo med if I'm sending me into the alligator enclosure with a rake.
But
with
remember,
a small rake.
if you're in the alligator enclosure and there's 4 people, you just got to be able to beat one of them.
Oh, yeah, actually. Well,
I'm 5 foot. I have
that's true.
0. I was maybe they sent me in for bait. I mean, I'm hand down the slowest and shortest person that worked at that zoo. So maybe they sent me in for bait.
You drew the shortest straw.
I heard alligators love Italian food.
Oh, great. Then I'm in extra trouble then.
You're a dunzo.
Yeah. Hey. What's the weirdest thing you've seen a pet eat?
Can we say?
What do you got? I'm not going to him. What do you got?
Rhymes with schmutschmlug.
Oh.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. What about you?
Well, I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've seen everything. But the worst was removing a pair of pantyhose, and the wife comes to pick up.
Oh my God! Don't tell me
and
they
says,
weren't hers.
I don't wear.
Oh my God!
Yep.
That's the
Pantyhose.
worst.
We also had lingerie that we pulled out, and it was a male couple. So that was also a fun one to call the owners and let them know. They're like, "Hey,
Interesting.
what'd you pull out?" And you're like, "Oh, bras." And
Yeah, what is your protocol for that?
well, when they
Do
ask
you, do you present it? Or
I
do
mean,
you
that's
say it?
something. Well, the thing is that's it goes
you
right
go.
to these
Yeah.
pet owners that are listening. Yeah, that's a difficult conversation
Right.
because you have no idea going in. Hey, I guess what I found.
Yeah.
I
Right.
found blank, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, then do you tone it back? Do you run? Do you try to save it?
I say, "I don't know what's
yeah.
going on. I have
But
it
your
here."
dog is recovering great from
Yeah,
anesthesia.
Yeah.
We're hoping he's going to eat a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah, that's a
and we
tough
will
one.
send him home tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's tough to have that conversation with owners because then all of a sudden, that's a whole
I
different.
mean, are you breaking up marriges?
Yeah,
right?
I
You
know.
start
That's all
thinking
different thing.
everything like, oh my gosh, what can of worms did we just open here?
It's definitely a difficult conversation.
Yep. What's the next one you got for us, Mal?
For real life chaos, what? Have you ever had a pet escape mid-exam?
I have not, but you have more experience, I will say.
I think I know where you're going with this. I'm just going to interject real quick. Ours wasn't mid-exam.
No, I have.
Have you?
The owners keep their collars too loose.
Yeah.
On dogs, and they're walking in, and what's the one thing the dog does? Puts the brakes on, and that collar just slides right off. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the waiting room and in the hospital, thank goodness most of these guys are sweethearts, right? But if the dog's aggressive, then you have an aggressive dog running around the lobby and in the waiting room. So yes, but usually it's because the collars are not on tight enough. 2 fingers underneath a collar, please. Just 2 fingers this way. That's all it needs to be.
But I think for pet owners, like if you think your pet is fractious, you think they're nervous, you think they hate going to the vet, we have medications that can help them through that. We have different techniques. We can put 2 slip leads on them. There's things we can do to help you out in these situations.
But more importantly, let us know before we try to handle the animal or come into the room. Just say, hey, we won't take offense to it.
Right.
We understand they're nervous, and as we said, they can smell off the owner's emotions, and we understand pet owners. You guys are nervous when you come in as well, whether it's going to be what's the outcome going to be, or the cost of care, or even life in general outside your pet in the hospital. We understand that there are issues, so just be communicate that when you come in, and we'll make sure we do everything we can to make this the best visit for you and your companion.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And I think it's also important too. And one of the practices that I worked at, we implemented, if we did notice there was a fractious dog or there was a dog that was really, the owner wasn't feeling very well about coming in, even if it was for just something routine like a nail trim or a vaccination, we said, hey, look, on a day that you have some time, just come in, bring some treats. You can go on the lobby. We had a scale out front. You can weigh them on the front so we can get them used to going on the scale and utilize positive reinforcement and familiarity with it, because these are creatures of habit.
Right.
Dogs, especially, love habitual things. There's a reason why they do very similar things every single day. It's because they know it. And when they know it, they feel comfortable. So we really tried to communicate that with pet owners. And I know I would feel better bringing my pet to somewhere when they wanted to walk in. We could see those dogs hitting the brakes, like you said. And we say, hey, we need to adjust our exam. We need to adjust our approach a little bit, kind of get on the same team. So I think that's really important.
Absolutely. I think, the more that the animal is relaxed, the better the exam will be. If you, for example, if you bring in your animal and it's crazy happy, great. We know we have the baseline. So when your animal comes in again and they're lethargic, depressed, we got a problem.
Right.
It's a good metric that we use. So again, don't be embarrassed. Just give us a heads up before.
How do you guys feel about people who bring cats in that are not contained? They're just walking and carrying them because Fluffy hates the carrier.
No.
Don't do
they're
it.
scared.
Don't do it.
It's too much risk for no reward.
And the cat, all it really knows, hopefully, is the inside of its house. So now it went for a car ride, which usually the only time it goes for a car ride is to go to an animal hospital.
Yep.
And then they get into there. And what are you going to do if you walk in the lobby and there's 4 dogs all barking?
And this cat's never seen a dog.
Please use a carrier. And if you don't want to use a carrier, use an at-home veterinarian.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A mobile veterinarian. That could also help as well.
All right, so we'll finish up with this last one. Is there an old school pet remedy that you've heard of that owners swear by but actually does more harm than good? Like an old wives' tale that you think people really still follow that?
If their dog is constipated, give it Vaseline
Yeah.
Through which end?
orally.
Okay. I've never heard that before.
And it's a nightmare because if your dog does aspirate it, like get some
Yeah.
of it in its lungs, good luck treating that
How
because
do you
it's
get
an
that
oil.
out?
You don't. It's an oil-based product.
It's going to sink in.
Yeah, that was the worst one. The other one is taking a burnout match to a tick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've heard
I had a dog come in with 8 burnt nipples.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And the owner said to me, "This is a male dog, not a female dog."
Oh.
And I looked at him in the eye and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have nipples?"
It's like a
And
Meet
that-
the Fockers moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was another one. And of course, that was before the days of, no, it was right when Google was coming out.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was an old wives' tale that
Mm-hmm.
it is used.
Yeah. I never liked the acetaminophen, the human pain NSAIDs, so non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or any type of pain medication. And quite frankly, giving any type of medicine or anything that's meant for humans to give to your pets without consulting with a veterinarian first. Because there are some things that you can recommend to give, but it's definitely, you need to be very cautious. The dosages, the way it's made, the different types of additives that are in it, everything's different, and we are not the same as dogs and cats. So I think it's important to, like I said, consult.
Yeah, because remember, an emergency visit for a toxin or trying to take care of the toxin side effects is very expensive.
What about the old wives' tale that garlic treats fleas?
A garlic powder on the food? Mm-hmm. Does not.
No.
I'm from South
Yeah,
Florida.
don't do it.
My dog was on garlic pills for fleas, and he was loaded. It does
Well, and you
not
also
work.
wonder how much pet owners are going to give as well when you're going to start dealing with like toxicity and having organ
Well,
issues
garlic
and
powder
garlic,
you don't
right?
have to worry
Yeah.
about as much as onion powder.
onion
Yeah.
powder.
But still, don't give garlic. Just don't. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's what I have for you guys today.
Well,
Question wise.
well, Garth, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to have you back because we can have this all day long. Mallory, again, thank you so much for everything.
Anytime.
And for all you listeners, remember, please tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want us to talk about. What topics do you have? Right now, we're just shooting stuff just to educate you and get you ready for your veterinary visit. But there's certain things I'm sure, at least I read on my TikTok, that you have a lot of questions about. No, you do not give your dog Advil. Again, you do not give your dog Advil. And even worse is a leave.
Yeah.
Because that's very toxic.
Yep.
But going forward, let us know what you want. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know where you want us to go with this show, because this show is going to be based on you. So the more interactive you are, the better this show is going to be. We'll talk to you next time.